Welcome to the Israel Daily News Podcast. I'm your host, Shanna Fold, and I'm here to get you caught up quickly. I've got some top news stories for you today from Israel, and guess what? You're listening, so you're already on top of your game. Survive and thrive, people. Knowledge is the best weapon. Today is Thursday, May 29th, 2025 in the Gregorian calendar, and the 2nd of Sivan in the Hebrew calendar. Stay tuned for the end of the show, where we'll have a Torah thought by Rabbi Yossi Madvig of Oswego, New York. Now, let's get to the news. We have some sad follow-up news. The newborn son of Tzeela Gez, an Israeli woman killed in a West Bank terror shooting, has died 2 weeks after being delivered via emergency C-section. 30-year-old Gez was driving on Route 446 to give birth when a Palestinian terrorist opened fire with a gun on her and other vehicles passing by. It critically injured her and hurt her husband as well. She succumbed to her injuries and passed away at the hospital. Scenes from the funeral were extremely emotional as her sister pleaded to keep politics out of the mourning. In the days that followed, settlers allegedly retaliated by torching Palestinian property near the Ariel industrial zone. Haaretz newspaper reports the following, and I'll read it word for word. According to the mayor of Deir Istiya, a Palestinian village in the northern West Bank, the arsonists who arrived by car at a family home located near the village broke the windows of the house and tried to set it on fire. The baby was named Ravid Chaim Gez. He survived 2 weeks, struggling for his life. Unfortunately, he succumbed to his injuries of being born in a tragic and traumatic way and died. There are images of him being held by his family and his father. A very tragic loss. The father did survive and did come out of the hospital, unfortunately without a wife and his latest child. Israel's foreign ministry held a memorial ceremony in Jerusalem for Yaron, Lischinsky, and Sarah Milgrim, two Israeli embassy employees who were heinously killed in a shooting attack in Washington, D.C. last week. They had been attending a Jewish event at the Jewish Museum in D.C. The suspected killer was arrested after shooting the two young people, Sarah, 26 years old, and Yaron, 30. As the shooter was taken away, he shouted, "Free Palestine." He is known for being a far-left activist from Chicago. Foreign Minister Gideon Sa'ar led the tribute in Jerusalem, joined by U.S. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem and U.S. Ambassador to Israel Mike Huckabee. Sa'ar thanked Noem for her solidarity and praised the U.S. government for its commitment to investigating the murders and fighting anti-Semitism. The shooter has been charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder. Milgrim was known for being a peace activist and working hard on building bridges. She also cared about finding better ways to deliver aid to Gazans and was engaged in that work daily. Yaron left Germany at the age of 16, went to Israel, fell in love with the country, and then dedicated the rest of his life to working for it. He bought a ring and was planning to propose to Sarah in Jerusalem on the same day that she was laid to rest. After the recent Jerusalem ceremony in their honor, officials planted a tree in their memory. Their funerals are being held in both Israel and the United States, as Sarah was born and raised in Kansas. She spent her youth fighting anti-Semitism in her home state. The IDF struck Sana'a airport in Yemen on Wednesday morning and destroyed the last operational aircraft belonging to the Houthi rebels. That's confirmed by Israel's defense minister. The targeted strike, labeled Operation Golden Jewel, followed months of attempts and aims to deter further aerial attacks by the Iranian-backed group. Over the past 2 decades, the Houthis have launched 7 ballistic missiles and several drones into Israel. Israel's defense minister states, quote, "Anyone who harms us will be harmed 7-fold." Police arrested a 41-year-old Eritrean national for robbing and murdering a 71-year-old man here in Tel Aviv. The attacker reportedly used a rock to assault the victim and steal his phone. Paramedics attempted to resuscitate the man, who suffered severe facial injuries, but they pronounced him dead at the scene. Police launched a manhunt around 5 a.m. and quickly apprehended the suspect nearby. The deadly attack occurred during pre-dawn hours in Tel Aviv's Hatikva neighborhood, which is a southern Tel Aviv neighborhood known for having a lot of immigrants from African countries and, unfortunately, a lot of crime as well. Israeli troops fired warning shots on Tuesday when a massive crowd of Palestinians surged through military lines to reach a new aid distribution center in Rafah. The chaos erupted after aid trucks entered Gaza for the first time in 11 weeks. The deliveries were halted on March 2nd. The IDF facilitated the entry of 93 trucks through the Kerem Shalom crossing, delivering food, baby formula, and medical supplies. International aid organizations had recommended resuming assistance to prevent a worsening humanitarian crisis amid ongoing conflict. Unprepared for the flood of people, aid workers struggled to maintain order. The IDF confirmed that it fired only warning shots, but the UN Human Rights Office reported 47 injuries. The story made headlines around the world. Israeli officials say they will continue to facilitate humanitarian aid in Gaza and work to prevent the supplies from reaching the hands of Hamas terrorists. An explosive device planted by terrorists detonated during combat in southern Gaza on Wednesday, killing 20-year-old IDF Sergeant Danilo Mocanu from Holon. That's a neighborhood, a city just outside of Tel Aviv. The blast caused a building to collapse on the young soldier, trapping him under the rubble. IDF forces recovered his body several hours later. He's now become the 420th IDF fatality since October 7th. A second soldier sustained moderate injuries, and medics supported him while they transported him to the hospital for treatment. Wednesday, so that was yesterday at the time of this recording, Israel mourned 600 days of war, with protests throughout the streets, including sit-ins and demonstrations, which stopped traffic in a variety of spots here in Tel Aviv. Haaretz reports that within the last day, between 600 and day 601, 62 Palestinians were killed. They say the number contributes to some 54,000 since the war began. However, that is all according to Gaza's health ministry, which is run by the Hamas terror organization. Israel's former Prime Minister Ehud Olmert told CNN that Israel is committing war crimes and must end the war. He said, quote, "They are committing actions which can't be interpreted any other way," end quote. Olmert made clear in the interview that Netanyahu is responsible. He also said, quote, "I think we have to make sure that no uninvolved people in Gaza are hurt because of the expansion of these military operations, which is entirely unjustified and doesn't serve any important interests of the state of Israel at this point." A stunning Byzantine-era mosaic originally discovered in 1990 near Be'er Shema in the western Negev is now on public display after an extensive restoration. The 1,600-year-old mosaic once adorned a monastery and features 55 intricate medallions depicting mythological figures, animals, hunting scenes, and everyday life. Archaeologists also uncovered a wine press and clay jug warehouse nearby, revealing the site's role in ancient wine production along the region's historic spice route. The Israel Antiquities Authority had reburied the mosaic after its initial discovery to protect it from damage, but it began to deteriorate while underground. Now, fully conserved and relocated to the Merhavim Regional Council Complex, the mosaic is protected and available for the public to view for the first time ever. If you're listening and want to see, you can see it on YouTube or Spotify, where the platform allows us to upload video. We will also release some video and photos of the mosaics on our social media platforms. And now for an on-camera Torah thought by Rabbi Yossi Madvig of Oswego, New York. If you're watching this on Spotify, you can see myself and the rabbi on video. If not, you can see us on our YouTube page.
Welcome. I'm finally getting to see you in person now, or you get to see me in person, since Daily News has been going over to the video format. So I thought we'd try it now, and what better day to start than the week that we're talking about Shavuot, about the giving of the Torah. Just like there was a revelation at Mount Sinai, so now you have a revelation on the Israel Daily News. So this week's Torah portion is called Bamidbar, which means in the desert. And usually the name of the Torah portion has something to do with what's happening. And the truth is, it's a very strange name for the Torah portion because if you've been paying attention, the Jews have been in the desert for a long time, all the way back from the Exodus of Egypt through the entire book of Shemot, and then through the entire book of Vayikra, and now we're starting the fourth book of the Torah, Bamidbar, and it says, by the way, they're in the desert. So why all of a sudden this revelation, which everybody already knew, that they're in the desert? So the answer to this is actually the fact that we are supposed to read the Torah portion of Bamidbar just before the holiday of Shavuot, which is coming up at the beginning of next week, Sunday night. And it's that's why we've been having so many double portions, right? We have to catch up and make sure that we read Bamidbar before the giving of the Torah. So why is that? Because it's necessary to know that the Torah, before we receive the Torah, on a spiritual level, right? We got the Torah way back when, 3,338 years ago or whatever it was. But every year we receive it again in a spiritual manner. And so just before that happens, we have to realize and remember that the Torah was given in a desert. What does that mean? What does that have to do with anything? The lesson for that is actually twofold. One, a desert is an uninhabited place. It's a place where nobody lives, and that's because we want to be able to receive the Torah without any influence from the society around us and trying to check, is this okay with how society views things? Can I accept the Torah even though, things around me might be a little bit different? No, we receive the Torah as it is. There's no outside influence. This is what the Torah is. Number two is that there's also a spiritual desert. And this is in two ways. One, when we find a place, there's a spiritual desert where there is a lack of Torah values and Torah knowledge, we should share that and be a light to the nations and project the light of godliness and of Torah all around us. And likewise within ourselves, no matter how holy you are, how spiritual you are, there is always a part of you which is like a desert, which is bereft of godliness or kindness, and we have to let the light of Torah and mitzvot and godliness shine there within ourselves as well, so that we're completely 100% permeated with the light of goodness and godliness. Shabbat Shalom and Chag Sameach.
All right. Well, that is it for today's show. Today is Thursday, May 29th, 2025. Tel Aviv has a low of 20 degrees Celsius and a high of 26 degrees. That's 68 degrees Fahrenheit for the low, going up to 78 degrees for the high. We are everywhere. Don't forget to sign up to our Israel Weekly News Wrap. The Israel Weekly News Wrap is a newsletter with the top 5 stories coming out of Israel from throughout the week. And of course, with the personal note from me at the top, you can sign up for that at israeldailynews.org. I'll send you off with a song called Hayati by Ariella Zeitlin. Enjoy this song and have a great and productive day and an excellent weekend. Chag Sameach as we enter the holiday of Shavuot. It's a pilgrimage holiday, one of 3 that begins on Sunday evening. The next podcast will be out on Tuesday due to Monday being a holiday. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.